After a whole load of rumour and speculation, Nintendo has finally confirmed The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD for Wii U, which is fantastic news, because The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is a criminally underrated game. I mean, it reviewed extremely well, but the reception from Zelda fans was fairly lukewarm, and it's definitely not held in the same regard as other entries in the series. So, without any further ado, here's a handful of reasons Twilight Princess is actually one of the best the franchise has to offer. And because I'm a mature and responsible human being, I've called it Twilight Princess was hugely underrated, and if you didn't play it, you're a jerk. First up is the art style, which is a bit more grown up than the quaint stylings of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and about as far from Wind Waker's lovely cell shading as you can possibly get. The creature and environment design really help bring out the darker tone of Twilight Princess, which I'll get to in turn, and it's undoubtedly my favourite take on Hyrule to date. Sadly, while this art style did at least give us the Link we know and love from Super Smash Bros., it only lasted for one game. Skyward Sword pulled things back towards the cutesy, giving us a curious amalgamation of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. Second, and I can't stress how big an achievement this is for a Zelda game, is a water temple that isn't complete garbage. I mean, okay, it's still the least fun temple in the whole game, but compared to some of the other water temples we've endured in Zelda's rich history, it's an utter delight. It also gives the Helmasaurs a rare outing, and any temple featuring weird piggy rhino things is alright with me. Now, earlier on I mentioned the art style really helped complement Twilight Princess's tone, which is another reason it's such a standout title. Twilight Princess is pretty dark. Okay, so it's not quite as horrific as some of the moments in Majora's Mask, but nonetheless it packs a surprising amount of gravitas for a game about a boy running around in a stupid hat. The Twilight Realm is superbly bleak, Zant is grotesque in the extreme, and Princess Zelda goes willingly to her death in order to save Link, for crying out loud. What's more, your only hope of salvation comes in the form of Midna, a shadow being who actively dislikes you and wants to make you into a slave. Most Zelda games bend over backwards to tell you you're the god's chosen hero, but this one subjugates you to an impish being who loves smacking you in the head. Which, by the way, brings me to my next point: you turn into a wolf. Loads. By the time Twilight Princess rolled round, the musical gubbins brought to us by the Ocarina of Time had become a franchise staple. In Majora's Mask you've still got the ocarina, in Wind Waker you've got your twee little conductor's baton, and in Twilight Princess? Sod it, let's transform Link into a wolf and make him howl his furry head off. There's something lovely about Wolf Link trying to master his new vocal cords and hit the right notes like a drunk wobbling down the street that's infinitely endearing. Oh, and Wolf Link also has some great Midna enhanced attacks too. Midna, incidentally, is brilliant in her own right. She's more than just a tutorial prompt machine that flies around going, "Hey, or listen." She's got her own temperament, she's got a sense of humour and personal goals, and even skeletons in her closet. In many ways, she's a more rounded character than Link is, and their changing relationship is one of the more interesting elements of Twilight Princess. And finally, in this little ode to the Wii's finest, is cooking. No, seriously. There's this wonderful bit in Twilight Princess where you spend maybe half an hour running around a Yeti's house helping him make cheese, pumpkin and fish soup for his wife, who is sick. Every time you present him with a new ingredient, he shoves you over to take it off you. Then it turns out the soup is just what his wife needs in order to get back on her feet, turn into an evil boss and try to kill you. It's a strange tale of love and haute cuisine rammed into the middle of a Zelda game, and it's honestly brilliant. So there you have it, Twilight Princess. It's criminally underrated, and if you didn't play it, you are a jerk.
For millions of people, video games are a great way to unwind. After a hard day at work, coming home and flipping on a game can be really relaxing, which is why the last thing you want to do is spend that time doing a virtual job, especially if that job happens to be more mind-numbing than the one you actually have. So without further ado, here are the worst jobs we've had in video games.